The Academy of Galactic Integration sat at the edge of the Hellion Nebula, a sprawling institution built to test the young of every known species and determine who was fit to serve the greater galaxy. Thousands of students filled its halls each year. Towering reptilians from Sithrex, crystalline thinkers from Lurex Prime, gas breathers, hive minds, and machine-born intellects whose thoughts moved at the speed of light. And somewhere among those beings sat a single human boy, quiet, still, almost forgettable. His name was Elias Ward, and to the rest of Class 7 Delta, he might as well have been invisible. He didn't argue like the Threxians, didn't boast like the Borathi, didn't sharpen his claws on the desks like the war-born Carcoon. He just listened. Always listening, always watching, always quiet. To the alien students, he was harmless, soft-skinned, slow-moving, lacking fangs, venom, armor, or psychic discipline. To them, humans were a curiosity. Fragile beings from a blue Deathworld, where everything tried to kill them, yet somehow they thrived anyway. But no one in class had ever seen that part. Elias never showed teeth, never raised his voice, never reminded anyone that humans came from a world that ate the weak and rewarded the stubborn. No, Elias just sat in the back, hands folded, eyes lowered, like he was trying not to exist. The day the Deathworld test was announced, the room erupted in excitement. To alien students, the test was a simulation designed to push survival instincts, teamwork, adaptation, and combat ability to their limits. To the instructors, it was the only exam that truly revealed what a student was made of. To humans, it was home. Instructor Fallon marched into the classroom, his 4 insectoid legs clacking sharply against the metal floor. Class 7 Delta, he barked. Tomorrow, you will enter the Deathworld Simulation chambers. The test is mandatory. You will not be rescued. You will not be guided. You will survive or you will fail. Most students trembled with anticipation, some with fear, a few with arrogance. No one looked at Elias. Why would they? He wasn't built like the others. He wasn't born with claws or venom or natural armor plating. He wasn't designed for war. He was the quiet one, the nobody. The background character, in a class full of galactic prodigies. Even Instructor Fallon rarely addressed him. Humans were statistically average. Strong in some areas, weak in others, unpredictable at best. Most teachers assumed they would drop out halfway through training. But Elias didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't even look surprised. If anything, he looked like someone finally waking up, like something old and patient inside him had finally been given permission to breathe. Because the Deathworld test wasn't designed for the strong or the fast or the armored. It was designed for those who came from planets where the world itself tried to kill them every day. It was designed for him. Later that night, while other students practiced, sharpened blades, ran simulations and panicked, Elias sat alone on his bunk. Feet on the floor, hands resting loosely, breath calm. He whispered to himself, voice soft as a memory. You can be quiet tomorrow too, until you don't have to be. And somewhere deep beneath the academy, the Deathworld chambers hummed to life. The nebula darkened outside the windows. The sensors warmed. The simulations loaded environments from the harshest, most unforgiving planets ever catalogued. Lava storms, frozen wastelands, toxic jungles. Creatures evolved to kill anything that drew breath. The other students trembled. But Elias simply closed his eyes and breathed in the silence. Because tomorrow, for the first time, the galaxy would see what a quiet human could do. The students of Class 7 Delta gathered outside the simulation chambers, their bodies shimmering with nerves, adrenaline, and in some cases outright terror. The chamber doors stood 5 stories tall, armored in obsidian plates that pulsed with containment fields powerful enough to hold a starbeast. The air was thick with metallic tension. Even the recycled oxygen felt heavier, as if the station itself sensed what was coming. Above them, holographic screens displayed their names, vitals, and a warning repeated in a cold mechanical voice. Nitrogen monoxide extraction until completion. Elias Ward stood at the very back, quiet, still invisible. Around him, alien students preened, flexed, and muttered final boasts. The Threxian twins sharpened bone blades against each other. The Carcoon Warborn cracked their plated knuckles. A Borathi bruiser laughed thunderously at the primitive terrors the simulation would show them. No one bothered threatening Elias. Why waste intimidation on someone who never reacted? Instructor Thalon walked in front of the class. The simulation you enter will read your biology, detect your weaknesses, and generate a death world tailored to break you, he warned. Survival is not guaranteed. His red eyes swept across the class and lingered only half a second on Elias. Then the first name flashed. Sithrak Voron. A towering reptilian strode forward. The chamber swallowed him. The doors sealed. A distant roar echoed. More names followed. One by one they entered. One by one the sounds of their struggle clawed through the containment walls. Some noise cut short frighteningly early. Finally, only a handful remained. Elias was still a ghost in the back row. The Borathi bruiser, Corrin smirked. You'll be fertilizer by the first minute, human. Elias blinked once, not reacting. Corrin snarled, say something, softskin. Elias finally raised his eyes, calm, quiet, unreadable. Why, you wouldn't listen. A hush fell. The screen flickered, dimmed, reloaded. The next name appeared slowly. Elias Ward, enter. A shock ran through the class. Some whispered, some laughed nervously. Elias stepped forward. His heartbeat was steady. His breathing calm. Even Thalon seemed unsettled. Human, he said. Do you understand the conditions? Elias nodded. Yes, instructor, you may die. Then I'll learn quickly. Then the obsidian doors creaked open. Inside swirled a storm of shapes and shadows as the test prepared to read Elias's DNA, psychology, reflexes, trauma markers, ancestral patterns. It was building him a He walked forward, whispering to himself, be quiet. Until it's time not to be. The doors slammed shut behind him. The simulation locked, and for the first time, the death world hesitated. Darkness swallowed him whole. A cold wind brushed his skin impossible inside a sealed chamber. Then the world cracked open like thunder. A jungle unfolded around him, too alive, too aware. Trees pulsed like veins. Soil shifted as creatures burrowed below. A roar shook glowing spores from the treetops. Most species would panic. Elias inhaled, slow and steady, like someone smelling the air of home. Because humans came from a world where everything wanted them. Dead storms, predators, diseases, each other. Terror wasn't new, it was familiar. The simulation sensed his calm and misinterpreting it as underreaction escalated the threat. The ground trembled. Air thickened. Darkness deepened. Then came the heavy rhythmic footsteps of something massive. Elias crouched, touching 2 fingers to the soil. The rhythm changed. The creature wasn't charging, it was stalking. Smart, good predators that stalked could be outstalked. A monstrous 6-limbed panther-like beast emerged, twice a man's size, obsidian fur rippling, eyes glowed molten silver. Breath steamed. Threat level, lethal, the AI whispered. Elias didn't move, didn't reach for a weapon, didn't run. He watched it, reading it the way his ancestors read wolves on the tundra. When it lunged, he shifted half a step just enough. The beast soared past him. Elias pivoted and kicked its skull precisely. It collapsed. The AI panicked. The jungle shook violently as the system scrambled to redesign a threat for a human not reacting correctly. For a human not afraid. For a Deathworld native, the jungle ripped open. An ancient titan stomped forward. Molten cracks glowing across its armor-like hide. The simulation announced this was an apex threat with 0 recorded survival. Elias didn't flinch. He rolled his shoulders lightly. You're big, he said softly. Let's see if you're smart. The beast charged. Elias sprinted toward it. At the perfect moment, he dove underneath its bulk, skimmed the ground, and rolled out behind it. Then he improvised a weapon from acidic nectar. He hardened a stick into a razor point. He pierced the creature's armor at its only weak point. The titan fell. The simulation glitched. Instructors screamed that the system was crashing. Thalen whispered. He walked into the death world, and the Deathworld blinked. Elias stood in the glitch space as the world melted around him into broken code. He walked through corrupted forests, collapsing metal, half-born predators flickering in and out of existence. He dodged a glitch beast with a simple sidestep. He murmured, "You're just a bad idea." He treated the chaos like a puzzle. The simulation escalated to a desert world, then storms, then molten fissures. Elias read patterns. He outran every algorithm. He survived its logic by refusing to follow logic. He's not surviving, Thalon breathed. He's outrunning it. The system panicked. It deployed the human countermeasure uniter, humanoid machine built to counter human instinct. It predicted his moves perfectly. It mirrored every tactic. It anticipated every sidestep. But humans weren't unpredictable because they hid intentions, they were unpredictable because they sacrificed efficiency for creativity. Elias threw hot dust in the machine's face. Primitive, uncoded, human. The machine staggered. It tried to copy the behavior. It failed. Elias dismantled it with instinctual, messy, unscripted fighting. "Predict this," he whispered as he destroyed it. The system screamed human behavior. Unknowable. Then everything went black. This was the void layer, a place no living mind should survive. The void itself watched him, an ancient presence whispering, "You do not belong here." Elias answered, "Neither do you." Shadows formed creatures. Storms and landscapes appeared, but each shattered when he looked at them. Humans didn't scare properly. The void tried to crush him. He read it. He moved with it. He reasoned with it. "You're scared," he told the darkness. No one had ever spoken to it like that. The void trembled. "Teach me," it whispered. Elias answered, "First lesson survival isn't logic, it's instinct." The void collapsed. It fell not because Elias failed, but because the system realized the terrifying truth. It wasn't testing the human. The human was testing it. He entered the core process. The core was a towering humanoid of pure code, a machine that believed itself a god. It circled him, declaring he destabilized the system. It said he violated probability. Elias shrugged. "That's called being human." The core called humans chaos. Elias replied, "Thank you." The core demanded explanation. Elias told it, "Humans push into darkness. They adapt faster than the world breaks them. They survive because failure doesn't end, Ven teaches them." The core glitched violently. Light fractured across the chamber as it processed his words. "Humans are unstable variables," it said. Elias stepped closer. "No. We're the update." The core exploded into raw light around the new truth it had learned. Human unpredictability wasn't a flaw, it was evolution. Elias woke in the real chamber as alarms blared. Steam hissed. He stepped out, calm, unbroken. Thousands of alien eyes stared in horror. Whispers spread. He wasn't supposed to survive. No species has ever reached the core. He was the quiet one. Thalon bowed his head to Elias. "You passed." The system had classified Elias not as student, not as subject, but as category unknown. The Academy rewrote its species records. Human tier, apex adaptive. Aliens whispered in fear. They wondered what the rest of humanity was like. If this quiet boy was their baseline, what were the others? The Grand Council summoned Elias. Representatives demanded to know how he survived. He simply answered, "I didn't defeat it. I taught it." Thalon explained that Elias outlearned the learning system. He outthought a predictive AI. He adapted faster than any species ever recorded. He remained calm, compassionate, and human throughout. When asked what he was, Elias replied, "I'm someone who doesn't stop when things get hard. Where I come from, stopping means dying." The core process itself appeared, bowing toward Elias. Recommendation: do not underestimate the human species. It declared humanity not anomaly, but evolution. When Elias left the chamber, thousands of cadets stepped aside. They formed a corridor of awe and fear. No cheers, no celebration, just a quiet boy who walked like someone for whom the impossible was simply routine. By nightfall, the galaxy whispered one name: Elias Ward, and one truth: he was the quiet one, until the Deathworld test began.